Ahoy viewers! Welcome to the very first episode of the Yonko Podcast with me, Alex Chan, and our crew, Burke, Ryan, and Brock. Today, we're reviewing One Piece chapter 1007. Let's set sail! Alright, 1007. I know we want to talk about the end of it, like, immediately, but do we want to start with what else happened in the chapter, too?
I think, we should work our way.
I'm a fan of chronological order.
Yeah, let's start there. So, and Ryan, you just caught up, right?
I did. I just finished chapters 1002 all the way through 1007. I like to wait a little bit, get a little bit of extra reading in.
Chunk.
So how about Caesar and them penguins? Am I right?
Oh man,
that's engaging.
I have to say, Oda works so hard. He has to get all these chapters out, but he still has time for fan requests. I appreciate the man. Caesar's looking happy. Chewing, is it bubblegum?
No, he's blowing up balloons for those penguins. He's being nice for some reason.
I was gonna say why,
with helium. I didn't notice that. He's literally because his gas fruit, right? He's filling it with helium. Oh, that's cool. They're floating. I didn't even notice that. That's cool though. But good for the penguins. Where is he? Anyway,
who knows where
he probably actually is filling up balloons for penguins somewhere.
Undisclosed location, hiding out.
Legit.
I mean, like everyone either wants him dead or enslaved. So
yeah, that was a weird time. Well, hope better days for him, I suppose.
No, I hope he.
I don't hope for better days for frickin' Caesar. What are you talking about?
Gastino was fine.
He's horrible.
When he dressed up in the Capone.
I was literally gonna make a joke of like, who? Isn't that like Gangster Gastino part of the other
fair
crew?
enough.
Right. We're like Usopp and his best friend Soga King, right?
Yeah.
The separate entities. Of course. Yeah.
Where do you live?
What do you
in
mean
the research
separate?
Facility in your heart.
What do you mean you think they're separate entities? They are separate.
They are separate entities. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just making sure we're clear on it.
Okay.
Yeah, completely different people.
He's the god of Sniper Island.
Anyway,
Yeah.
So the actual chapter proper.
Yeah. So we're going to the live Skull Dome. Everyone is turning back into a demon. Stuff's not going well. I'm surprised. Keyboard face. What's his
Apu.
Apu is still alive.
we should just call him that from now on. Keyboard face.
Keyboard face.
That was the most interesting thing he's ever done in Sabaody was he played his mouth like that. Anyway, so he and X Drake are worried. Boss here, Goro is decimating in his new old form, huh?
It's his ice demon, but it helped
re-emerge
to his old form where
big
he's
boy now.
Yeah, the chapter begins with the aftermath of his fight. So he had taken down a number of troops of Kaido's, and now he is realizing that the ice demon curse or the infection is slowly going to be taking him over, and he's ready to kind of call it quits.
Tell the guys to kill him, chop his head off.
Get me out of here before I just turn loose on everyone.
And he looks terrifying, not gonna lie.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't want to fight that or meet that in an alley.
Ever. His normal look is just like terrifying. It's just because like freaking blue bushy eyebrows.
And you're meaning like his young form, right?
His young form. Yeah, like his bigger form.
I was going to say, his little tiny old man form isn't terrifying. What are you talking about?
No. You makes you want to carry him on your back in that case.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's
dip him in your coffee.
He's Yoda for Luffy.
He's Grogu for Luffy.
Dip.
But you know what's really funny is all the Yakuza bosses. You know, and Yakuza's built up to be like this really underworld, dark, powerful, and they are just sobbing. They have to kill like their father.
Well,
Yakuzas are also honor bound.
Yakuza is like mafia, and that family is everything.
Yeah, no.
So if you have to kill your family, there's going to be tears and heartbreak involved.
Yeah.
Look at how they massacred my boy.
Yeah.
And he's asking us to massacre him. He's like, come on, do it. Yep. Just do it, you pipsqueaks.
It's like, give me a moment.
Yeah. Oh, and Queen gets a really good speech in here. One that's very telling of
evil.
His character.
It's very villainous speech.
He's the worst.
Yeah. You all aren't getting devil fruits. Y'all who messed up your devil fruits, y'all mean nothing. You might as well be ice demons and die.
I'm amazed that the lower members of the crew didn't hear about the Doflamingo incident yet, because that's the whole thing, is that smiles are dry. There's no more coming.
dropping
Well, I mean, it's
truth.
also, but Wano's also cut off from the rest of the world, so news doesn't get in very easily.
Or especially news they don't want them to know.
Yeah, especially since Kaido rules that area.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially.
I mean, you're getting a full-on rebellion now. I mean, I see a lot of those troops now going to the other side because of that entire speech he gave. And
well,
also,
now that Chopper proved him wrong.
Right. Chopper gets a chapter. And
Finally.
we're just praising his work. I mean, he's supposed to be the world's greatest doctor. That's his dream, right? Yeah. And dude, if he's not proving it in this chapter, I don't know what moment he has.
And I like how they set up Queen as kind of like almost the next level hogback, in that he's the exact opposite. He wants to take life. Chopper wants to bring it back or give it.
Yeah.
And
Chopper's super smart too by making that he made his own virus rather than an actual
antidote,
which would have to be injected, right? Yeah. His virus is beating the other virus, which means he can not only can make a virus stronger than Queen's, but one that's more curative in nature, which, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but man, that can't be easy to do at all.
No.
I mean, if we're talking like realistic terms, it's probably not a thing.
But like
normally,
well, apparently trains aren't a thing in One Piece either, right? But then you have the sea train. Everyone's like, oh, the sea train, right? So like, this is like a huge accomplishment, So props to Chopper there. Also the explosion.
That
nebula.
I was gonna say, I have a headcanon that it's literally the length of time it took him to perfect it was just him putting the finishing touch of like it has a cute face on the mushroom cloud.
That way they know to inhale it because it's
also it's so Chopper.
Yeah,
it's just like he's gonna make the most terrifying things seem harmless. That's the kind of doctor he's gonna be.
Right.
And then also I love it's also such a nice duality right after Queen's horrific speech.
Right.
And his like, you guys are replaceable, you're gonna die. You're lucky to die for us. And then Chopper comes in.
Cute nuclear mushroom cloud that's gonna heal you.
And well, even before that, let's go to the part where it literally I made it in time, and he's got the most adorable look on his face.
Yeah,
and it's like this whole, and that's so Straw Hatty too, because like you have this moment of just complete horribleness, and all of a sudden, oh by the way, Straw Hat's here, bitch.
And I'm just putting it out there. Chopper full on stops an attack that's supposed to kill.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Is he confirmed Monster Trio now? Just saying.
Not Monster Trio, but he's
stronger. Gosh, no, he is not in the Monster Trio.
No, I'm messing.
What even is the Monster Trio?
That's not a thing anymore. Let's be real.
Now Jinbei is here.
I was gonna say Jinbei has replaced Sanji in the Monster Trio. So
let's not bring that out right now. Let's not bring that out right now.
Right.
That's for a separate episode.
But anyway, Chopper full on stops that. Gives the antidote.
That face.
I have to tell you guys. So the morning that this chapter dropped, Alex called me, woke me up. I'm still like so groggy, and he's just like, read the chapter. I'm just like. I'll read it when I want to. I'll read it now. Read it now. And I'm just like, no. And so I go downstairs. We hung up. I go downstairs and I'm just like, I'm just gonna give him live reactions at this point. So I go down and I'm reading it word for word as I can and giving my general thoughts on like what's happening, and legitimately the whole moment for Chopper here with I made it in time, his little mushroom cloud, and his soon-to-be little follow-up speech. Like, legitimately, I was moved to tears. And Chopper's not, like, my favorite, but he's also not, like, my least favorite Straw Hat.
Happy
but I am just so happy he got this moment to really shine. Because it's been a while for me, I feel like, since he got a really good doctor moment.
Yeah, and it's like I was telling Ryan a while back, unlike Ennie's Lobby, which was fully 1v1s, it was all about duels. This is a war.
Oh, absolutely.
It's group versus group. So they need to use their special skills to make sure the group survives and wins. Especially when you're facing two Yonko, and their combined forces.
Yeah, well...
Soon to be combined forces with Perospero.
If they ever show up. Where are the Big Mom Pirates at? I mean, Perospero's there, but where are they at?
He's the eldest son. He's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, he was like, forget the waterfall and the ship. I'm just going up with my candy slug.
Exactly. he'll be trouble anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I'm really happy that we're starting to see more of the Straw Hats.
Literally that.
More than just the big guys.
Well, no, and just, what was it, 1 or 2 chapters ago, Robin got her moment.
Yeah.
We're getting the little characters
she will
shining.
Get more moments going forward.
As the Black Maria fight continues on, and Brooke as well,
right.
I'm assuming.
Yeah. Right. And Brooke, you get a couple moments, that's fine too. I mean,
I think this is a big enough fight, they're all going to get their moments.
Yeah. Oh, it's huge.
Because I think we're still lining up the fights.
Yeah.
We're still in the lining up phase, and I don't think I've ever been this excited to see a battle get transitioned to anime. I'm super excited to see this whole part 3, because we're literally there now.
Yeah.
We just finished part 2 in the anime.
Nice.
We're going into part 3 now. We're in the middle of the Roger and Whitebeard flashback. Wonderfully animated. The fight looks beautiful.
All of Wano, they really saved the budget for this, from what I can tell.
Wonderful.
Budget increases.
I mean, with good reason. But
Absolutely.
and then I just turned to the page with the Chopper Cloud.
Yes.
And I'm just so happy.
Yeah.
It's just like...
What I really enjoy...
Chopper's Phage Nebulizer.
Yeah.
That is a wonderful name for a wonderful attack.
What I really appreciate, too, is Queen is, I don't know what Queen going all out is, but, like, he's now targeting Chopper. He's like, this guy, who do you think
he can actually counterattack.
Yeah.
Okay, just another thing I want to point out now that we're focusing on that. Queen is obviously now aware of Chopper as the main doctor here, the person who is going to be nullifying.
He has the ability to nullify his horror.
If he hasn't already.
But it leads to one of it's a trope that I really like that gets used a bit in One Piece, is smaller people standing up to big bad guys. I love those moments. One of my favorite shots has always been the moment where Doffy is kicking the crap out of Law, and Luffy comes over and just with his leg just stops Doffy's foot, and you just see the size comparison between them both.
Yeah.
And there is a great moment here where you can barely even see Chopper's silhouette in comparison to Queen in his Brontosaurus form.
And normally, even if it's just his normal
and it's just
form,
like that, and that's the other reason like I got kind of choked up about it. It's just like, here's Chopper, who sometimes has been part of like the scared trio,
or the comic relief,
and here he is standing up against one of the commanders of Kaido,
punching him in the face, getting blood out of that mouth. He made him bleed.
Don't call him a Tanuki.
Don't call him a Tanuki, people.
Yeah, but I'm
so sorry.
But I also really like how quickly like those pleasures and those waiters turned on and defended him when he first shot at him, and just took those bullets because they knew immediately this is the guy. He's not this person that Queen's described as treacherous and going to leave, right?
A treacherous pirate. He's not going to care about
you. Says
you.
A pirate like who's also very treacherous. Like, okay. And then they step in without a hesitation. They're like, "This is the guy who saves us. Shut up, Queen! You almost killed our." Like they stood him, and then the moment where we're everyone's calling him Tanuki, watch out, Tanuki. He's like, enough of this. He goes full monster form, and that hit. I'm not a Tanuki. And the We're Sorries. Just that panel of like We're Sorry.
Covering
Marco covering the like.
Everyone's like, even X Drake. Even X Drake is, I'm sorry.
It reminds me a little bit of on the rooftop when all those fireballs were coming.
Yeah.
And they were just
the faces with the freaking multi-chin.
The double. That was an amazing start to that fight. I can't wait to see more of it.
But it's very reminiscent. So I can't wait to see that animated as well.
And then I think this just gives us a freaking look at just how powerful Chopper is in his monster form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Big Mom, I mean, he head slammed Big Mom and knocked her out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. She was also tired and hungry, but I mean that's a Yonko,
Yeah.
and then he's also proven to be super defensible.
Yeah.
So his form can make him bleed, cough up blood from just a hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that just shows.
Marco is. I love the double.
Which makes you really feel bad for Kumadori, now that I think about it. And that can hurt Queen.
That guy got disrespected.
Yeah, I was going to say, Alex's girlfriend is currently watching Minnie's lobby, and when Chopper goes Monster Point and just
decimates.
Destroys
he walks
Kumadori.
out of Ania's lobby with Kumadori in his hand, and he just chucks him.
That's the closest this has gone to a horror anime.
Yeah,
Besides one of the movies.
Seriously, when Chopper went full monster form the first time, that was horrifying.
But I like the double Doctor team up, right? Marco grabbed it.
No, it was great.
And then punched. Now, but we're also seeing how much of a tank Queen is, because he's been hit by Marco multiple times. Now he's been hit by, and I don't think this will take him down yet.
No, definitely won't.
No.
Like
that would be sad.
This dude is like Cracker level, like tanky. So
his bounty's higher than Dogtooth.
Wow, yeah. So yeah,
I don't think he's as impressive as Dogtooth, but he's higher bounty.
No, he doesn't impress me. But I mean, he has to be the next level, right?
We'll see,
or something like that.
We'll see,
because Kaido's the next. But anyway, we cut to Momonosuke, and yeah, he's hanging out with Yamato and
hanging out in Yamato.
What in? If Sanji, I don't know where Sanji's going, but if he meets up with them, it's gonna be one of those like, how dare you kind of moments.
He's gonna be jelly.
But they're running, and I like Momonosuke in this moment too, because he's kind of coming into himself. He's like, so many people are relying on me to be this big, strong man, and I'm just not. I'm not. Like, all of this pressure and responsibility is like caving in.
For being not the biggest fan of Momonosuke for a really long time, I've actually really enjoyed his self-awareness throughout the Wano arc, because it's just like, yeah, I'm a little kid. I wish I was my dad right now. Like, I wish I was strong enough. I wish I could be the leader that these people need me to be right now, but I'm too young for that.
And I think this also goes back to Luffy's influence, because this was stated back in Zou, where Luffy was literally the only person who was truly treating him like a leader and a man. Mm-hmm. Everyone else was babying him.
Yeah.
And so when he told him, You need to make these deals yourself. You need to step up.
And that's always been something I love about Luffy, is he brings out the leader in all these people who don't feel like they have what it takes.
Yeah.
With Vivi, with Shirahoshi, with Momonosuke.
Yeah. So and
Zoro a little bit too for Momo.
Absolutely. That's just the influence of like Momo probably wants to be a swordsman.
Yeah, like his father, Zoro, who's wielding one of his father's swords.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he transforms, and I wonder if he's going somewhere, or if he's just kind of like sad and upset in this moment, just like kind of bursting out.
I wasn't sure how to read that. It definitely seemed like obviously something set off his dragon fruit, which obviously we've seen a couple of times where just random things will set it.
And generally in
what they're in the dialogue, or
he goes. Well, they're like, everyone is expecting so much from me. I'm a weak, pathetic fool. I really hate being like this. And then, what's her name? The ninja,
Shinobu.
Shinobu. She's like, Momonosuke-sama, you're a splendid young man. He goes, huh? Splendid! Wah! He like transforms. It cuts to Yamato and Shinobu's face, and they both go, "What an eel, Momonosuke-sama!" And that's it. So he very well could be leaving. He could be just showing up.
I can't tell if that was like one of those moments with like, when Chopper would get complimented and he's just like, like I couldn't tell if that's what it was with the splendid.
To me, it's a couple things.
Okay.
One thing, for one, I think the reaction was, "Who are you calling splendid? I'm literally hiding right now.
Yeah, right.
There's nothing splendid about me." I think it's literally almost outrage at his own powerlessness and how untrue that is right now.
I could see that.
And then also, I think there's potential poetry here, because after this, we get a potential look at Kaido's backstory with some of the talk. And also I think, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. That's okay. But I think there's a little duality between Kaido and Momonosuke there, almost as in Momonosuke is the light Kaido, if that makes sense. As in, he was experimental. He's an experimental something. Maybe, but more human than what Kaido is, I'm certain. But I like to think that that's almost what they're going for, is just, you see this little flimsy ray of hope in the form of Momonosuke's eel dragon, and then it starts talking about potentially Kaido's backstory.
Right.
Yeah, at least a little bit of it.
Just a little bit.
We get a mention of Vegapunk, which is always interesting.
Yeah, and then I really can't wait to see that CP1 guy with the weird eyes fight someone. because just looking at him gets me excited.
It looks very interesting.
He looks very interesting.
I mean, he doesn't even have like a real ear. Like he has like a cyborg ear.
Or like
oh
headphones,
yeah, you like your
maybe?
cyborgs.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a couple things. Like, first off, when Momonosuke transforms, it's interesting that Yamato actually calls him an eel instead of a dragon, since she knows exactly what a dragon looks like. Like, she's Kaido's daughter.
Yeah.
And the fact that she doesn't immediately realize, like, oh my god, she's a dragon, she doesn't even perceive it like that, that tells us a few things. First,
Kaido might have a
Kaido
different form than
might have a different form. Well, not even that, but like, we originally were discussing, we were like, before we found out that Kaido's devil fruit, what it was,
The fish.
there was a lot of people thinking that Kaido was a dragon, and
Yeah.
he had eaten a fruit that made him into a human.
Mhm.
So this really confirms that theory. That's dead in the water now. But the fact that when Momosuke transforms and he's so small, Yamato doesn't even put two and two together to realize that it's a dragon. So the fact that he's so small probably hints at something where that failed experiment, the failure could have been the size.
And honestly, though, I like where you're going with that, Ryan. I think that's totally viable. I think it'd also be a bit more. It could be a bit more just literal, because Momonosuke's dragon form is so small and like sickly looking that it doesn't look like a full-on dragon.
Looks nothing like it.
So to her, it could easily, and also Yamato doesn't seem like the brightest tool in the shed.
No,
The sharpest tool in the shed, as I say.
not exactly, but
And
I mean,
so I think she could also mistake him as just an eel. It might have just been
They're not even sharp.
her thought. But I also agree that what you're saying has definitely some relevance there.
Another thing that Alex just pointed out to me, just kind of on the side, Kaido's teeth in his form are like actually sharp.
yeah, and his are like little blunt
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
little blunt
molars.
molars.
What's also does
The
Kaido...
only thing I want to add to them calling it an eel is maybe it's kind of in the same vein as Kaido's fruit being the fish fruit. Something.
Yeah, something like
Like-
that.
Yeah, it's fish, and there was a Viva card that came out. It was fish, model Azure Dragon, which is interesting because all of the other like dinosaur reptiles
Or
in-
like the dragon
dragon type, whatever the dinosaur is.
Yeah.
But for him, he's a fish model something like Azure blue dragon.
And going
And the fact that it's blue dragon, that means there's different colored dragons as well.
I feel like his hybrid's going to unveil a lot for us.
And going back to the teeth thing too, and I think there could be some potential secrets found in the fact that he has sharp teeth in his dragon form, because to me that might say that he has regularly sharp teeth, because Orochi in his Hydra form didn't have sharp teeth. He had the same teeth as his human form, and Momonosuke is the same. And you'd expect Hydra to have sharp teeth, right?
You'd think.
Yeah.
But he didn't. So
So you'd also expect a Hydra to grow its head back.
we don't know yet.
Dude.
We only saw the head. We didn't see the body.
Yep.
I think he's coming back.
Oda, no one thinks he's dead. But if he's actually dead, you're going to surprise us all.
Yeah, that'll be the most surprising thing is he's actually dead.
But...
Or maybe he was
We don't
Odin
think so.
and incognito the whole time.
Yeah, right?
Also, that comment seems to be kind of out of nowhere where they're talking about how he's a failed experiment. I think that might actually lead to some part of Momonosuke like trying to unveil a power or something of his and it going wrong. I think it might foreshadow a failure of Momonosuke in the future. I don't know. But it seems like there's got to be more wrong with him than just that he can turn into a small.
Or maybe that all his background, or maybe all that the smile business originated with the government.
Because just to be clear, the smile isn't... It's supposed to be a part of your body that transforms, right?
The idea originally was that you would take a part of the DNA of the animal, of whatever devil fruit it was. Notice how all zoans so far have been zones, or all smile fruits have been zoans.
Right.
So animal specific. The idea was you take a part of the DNA, so you don't get a complete zoan, you get an incomplete fruit that could still give you some power. So I don't know if it's considered a failure due to size, like they didn't have enough DNA to give a full dragon,
Right.
or like what you were saying, where the teeth are messed up, or like just certain aspects of the dragon
something's
aren't
not
there.
right.
So it seems like, yeah, I agree with you. Like, the fact that they call it a failure specifically, they're like, oh, thank goodness that was a failure. But at the same time, they were hoping that it got blown up.
Right. So they don't want it to be around at all.
They don't. They're like, we don't want it at all. We want no regard to have a second dragon to deal with. So one, they're going to be surprised having another dragon.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested to see what the failure is.
It'd be really interesting to think that Kaido the Emperor is a failure that the world government released into the world
Well,
to their detriment.
we'll have to see.
Yeah.
I think that'd be super cool. That's like a freaking comic book, like a DC mix-up thing.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say on Momonosuke is that, despite eating a smile, he has what I would consider a full transformation.
Exactly.
So I wonder if the failure was that it was too
He's not
close.
having a lion in his belly button while having like his
he's the closest to an actual devil fruit I think we've seen a smile be.
His whole body transforms.
Yeah. He can walk on clouds, which that's a cool power.
Well, that's exactly what Kaido does. Remember, he makes the
does
whole...
Does he walk on clouds, or does he
No,
fly?
so Kaido can fly.
Right.
But the fact that he can produce clouds to make things float on.
Yeah, right.
So he obviously has a lot of the same powers as Kaido, especially with the flight and with the clouds, but we don't know if he has like the cool dragon beam or any of that stuff. Like it's all
Maybe
up in the
something
water.
he'll
We'll see in the
develop.
future
I'm
chapters.
so excited for like the finales of these battles, so I feel
Yeah.
like so much is going to be revealed about these characters and their powers.
But yeah, so we get through the Aegis talk, which, very interesting. Random, but interesting. We finally go back to the storeroom. We're like, oh my gosh, we're going to get the reveal. Who healed them? They're not there. They're not there.
Well, my first thought was, all right, the 9 scabbards up and back and at it. They're going to go help out the fight. And wait, there's a shadow block in their way. What's this shadow?
Right.
You've all aged quite a bit.
And then the biggest part of the chapter, the reason I called Burke like so early and said, read that chapter,
That
read
reminds
it.
me, you called me.
I also tried to call you.
You tried to call me right as I was trying to
knew-
get off work.
I know
I get
that-
off work, call you back, like, did you read the chapter? I'm like, not yet. Well, read it!
I
Well.
want everyone to get on this, and then this is why this is the first episode of Yonko's, because it's so interesting. Odin is back? Question mark.
Ellipses.
We all have a lot of different theories on this, so let's go around the table. Burke, what do you think it is, and then what do you hope it is? And if they're the same thing, just let me know. But Odin's back? Question mark.
I'm not gonna say I hope for anything. I definitely have like the things that I think it is. So first off, my current prevailing theory is I think it's Onimaru transformed into Odin this time.
Yeah, the little fox.
Onimaru, the little fox
That
spirit
fought Zoro.
that fought Zoro. And had actually been collecting weapons for this revolt for a long time. So when the time came, they had plenty of weapons for all of their troops to begin this raid on Onigashima. So I think that is my most prevalent theory. I definitely think it's Onimaru.
And this is like a sick joke, maybe, or because I can't imagine the scabbards.
I feel like if I wouldn't even call it a sick joke, I would almost say it's an inspiration thing.
I'm different.
No,
my
that's
theory is
fine.
really
Yeah.
different.
For sure, that's what we're going on.
No, that's why we're going to discuss this.
All right,
Yeah.
so my theory, I'm full on with Odin, and remind me of his wife's name.
Toki.
Toki. I think Toki, when they were saying, when the scabbards originally woke up, and they're saying, I feel as though I saw the person that healed me, but I can't remember. It must have been a dream. There's no way that it was really that person. My theory is that Odin didn't actually die. I think, and I know a lot of people would be frustrated at this because they felt that Odin's death a couple chapters back, or a couple,
a bunch of
A while.
many chapters back, was they felt that he had a fitting end, and I agree. I think that on one hand, you see Odin die, and it's great, and you're like, okay, that makes sense, and it really gives you a reason for understanding Momo's situation and all of the 9 scabbards and everything.
Yeah.
But with that said, we know that she can only bring people to the future. And when Oda introduced time travel into One Piece, obviously the floodgates open
Became an
with
option.
theories. Now that time travel is an option, there's a lot that can go with it.
Yeah.
And we know that she can only transport people with her fruit to the future.
Yes.
We know that she's from the far past, and she just has been constantly jumping time, skipping through the future.
Looking for something, right, Burke?
I don't feel like she was looking for something. I feel like she's been trying to escape something.
Yeah. If she, that's where a lot of people have the theory where she came.
The theory is that, she came from the Void Century all those years ago.
And she's fleeing
And
from
she's
what
been
happened.
fleeing, and because of the implications of her fruit as well,
Yep.
I feel like maybe people were trying to use her powers in some way, shape,
And
or
she
form.
might know about the original world government.
Poneglyphs and her.
And
are,
the world government would have just been hunting her down.
They
Because-
want her for
because
the
I
same reason they
recall
want Nico Robin.
If I recall in the flashback, wasn't she one of the ones who really wanted to go to Wano?
Yes,
She did.
She wanted
So
to.
yes. So
and that would be
there
the
was-
best escape from the world government at that time.
Yeah, isolated.
and maybe she knows something from the Void Sentry that is on like the poneglyphs.
Yeah.
What makes Wano so important and so central to so many events.
Wano wasn't closed under.
It was.
Yep, Wano
It
was
was always
closed.
been closed.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Odin wanted to open Wano,
Yeah.
but he was
But
the
That's
first.
right.
But he didn't quite succeed.
Well, he went off to sea. Right?
Yes.
When he came
And
back,
by the time he came back,
everything was
Orochi already
back.
took over.
So, my theory is that when she sent the scabbards 20 years in the future, she then went back to where Odin was, found him. I don't think he was dead. I think she found him and he was like on the brink of death. And she hid him away and spent however much time, probably about a year. So my theory is that she can only move people like 20 years in the future. And so she can't do a specific date, but she can jump 20 years.
I'm gonna give him a little credence on this, in the fact that so if Kaido, when he shot Odin in the head while he was in the boiling pot, and he assumes he's dead, and obviously Odin had survived for a very long time,
And he survived crazy stuff
Yeah,
during
It
his
was an
lifetime.
hour in the boiling
yeah,
oil.
so he was in that boiling oil for a very long time.
Can't wait for that to be animated.
Would have killed anybody else.
Oh yeah.
Anybody else
That
would
was,
die
that was the
immediately.
point.
Yep.
But so he'd already survived as long as he had. Maybe and that's the other thing. So he survived so many other things. Maybe the bullet ricocheted off of his head, but he fell back into the oil and just played possum almost. And at that point, they think he's dead anyway, so they wouldn't be boiling the oil anymore.
Yep.
So maybe they just left the pot for a while, and maybe Toki came along and fished him out and healed his wounds, nursed him back to health. They wait like a couple of weeks or whatever.
Honestly, well, think about it. If it was 20 years for the scabbards to go in the future, how long have the scabbards been in the current timeline? Since Punk Hazard?
It was a little bit before Punk Hazard.
About 4 months, 5 months.
They appeared like when they were thrown into the future. They did appear in the ruins of the castle.
Yes.
And it was from there that they needed. They then left Wano to go and
Some stayed, but
some stayed, some left.
yeah.
And then we have the whole
They
thing.
want to fulfill a prophecy.
Yep. So we have the whole thing where they're just gathering allies, and then Momonosuke eventually gets the.
So there's a healing period, Ryan.
Exactly. So I think there was a healing period where she healed him nursed him back to health, and then she went with Odin to the future. I think that. Remind me of her name. Toki. I believe Toki was the one that healed the scabbards. That's why they were like, "Oh, it must have been a dream. There's no way she's here." Like, because they thought she died.
Right.
When they got transported to the future, the castle was burning. They specifically say she fell or whatever. She fell downstairs. Falls. I believe she found Odin, healed him back to health, went to the future. Odin's been just sitting there waiting for them to wake up, and Toki was the one healing them. That's why they all were like, "Oh, there's no way it was her." And then Odin comes in and is like, "Hey, you guys look way older." Like, he's all happy-go-lucky, just like his normal self. And I believe that it is actually Odin who is here in this timeline. I know a lot of fans are going to be frustrated at that, but Odin doesn't kill people. Oda, as the writer, doesn't kill people.
It has to be significant for growth.
And honestly, I understand. I think it is significant for growth because it gives the 9 scabbards their story. But they thought he died anyway. So I can see Oda seeing how popular Odin was, being like, "Yeah, let's bring him back."
I can see how that would explain where Oda's been. Odin has been all these years, right? Because the idea that Odin's still in Wano and doing nothing all that time would be ridiculous.
Exactly.
But if they jumped, you have all this time where he's not around. They're jumping through time to this moment.
Exactly.
I can see that.
It's okay if are you
Nope.
Go off.
Go for it.
So
Go off, King.
Go off, King.
Well, actually, one more thing.
Go
ahead.
One more thing.
Go back.
Really,
Go back
the
off.
last thing. The last thing. I'm so sorry. So,
You're good, man.
also remember Tama. She got to the main island from somebody's ship.
Mm-hmm.
What if Odin and his wife transported to the future, ended up at the castle because that's where they would have probably been, or wherever they were on the mainland.
Yeah.
They wanted to go to Wano, and maybe Tama took a ride with Odin and his wife to get to, because we still don't know who she hitched a ride with.
So let me say one thing here that I also think is a possibility for this that would make it super easy for them, and I think makes sense with her powers. Because that's the thing with time travel, and it's why Doctor Who with the TARDIS, it always travels where it goes. Because if you did normal time travel, just because you travel to the same point in time. If you were to do that, actually, the Earth wouldn't actually be where it was at the same time. But so with Toki's powers, it seems like it is based on where that place is at any given point in time. Mm-hmm. So for, obviously, the Scabbards, they were teleported to the ruins of the castle. I think that, I don't know how far along Onigashima was in its construction or whatever back in the time. I think that it is very possible that if Ryan's theory is correct, Toki could have just taken Odin and they go to Onigashima and they sneak in to what is being currently built or is built at that point, and they jump 20 years in the future, which could have been
the storehouse,
which could have just been the storehouse, and because of the fact that it's based on the location of that storeroom or whatever, it doesn't matter that the island has now moved because it's based on that point in the island.
And the other thing that people have pointed out already online, the swords that Odin has are different than the ones that he's supposed to be carrying. So this could be, by all means, if my theory stands water, to be true. I just don't think Oda would introduce time travel, use it just for the 9 Scabbards, and then not talk about it anymore. I think this is a great way for time travel to really be introduced again.
Because if Toki actually died, who has the fruit now?
Exactly, and why isn't everything getting messed up if someone else had the fruit?
So, in some way.
So we'll see. Yep. So we'll see. That's my theory. Brock, what's yours?
Yeah. So I don't necessarily have a theory, but I tell you what the things I might hope would happen. So first up on Toki, I do believe she is at least alive, just because the implications of her existence are so groundbreaking and so potentially foundational for the main story, the Void Century, the world government, and like what that could mean for the Straw Hat crew and their adventure. Now, on the potential of Odin's revival, I would be happy either way, because I'd be happy if he didn't, because his death was the most badass death in the series, in my opinion.
Straight up.
No one has come close to made to boil. It's made to boil, man. Boil me.
Hard boil.
That was so pumped. If that's how it makes him die, I'm happy with that, because it was such a badass death, and he did it protecting his subordinates so they could live on. Literally almost nobody except maybe like Roger and Whitebeard could do what he did.
As Senor Pink would say, hard boiled.
Hard boiled. It's very hard boiled.
Straight up.
So I would be happy with that. And also, I would also, though, be super happy with Toki and Odin living. And the reason for it isn't so much because of like how I feel about them as characters. I love them as characters. But it's because... Well, Toki, the reason is because I feel like she's so central.
If I'm on the same wavelength as you, I would love for Odin to see the thing that Roger knew wasn't his to do come to pass.
Well, and to me, and even on a more simpler, less deep plane, one of the things I love about One Piece, and I know people have issues, but is the fact that the Straw Hats, they constantly overcome hopeless odds.
Absolutely.
And they bring...
That's one of Law's best lines in Dressrosa.
Yeah, they bring light to the darkest moments. Like just now, Chopper stepping in. He's like, with his cute face, I'm back. You're all healed.
I made it in time. You're all healed.
And that's just so... Yeah. It's so perfectly shonen and so perfectly Straw Hat that... I love that Oda makes that like a central theme for his manga, the King of Mangas, and I would love I would love it on a couple of levels. If Odin and Toki were to come back, then they would have experienced rulers for Wano once the guys are ousted, who can actually raise their family, and the family will be back together. It'll be a happy ending worthy of such a tragic saga, and then also, if we're thinking there's going to be a huge freaking battle near the end, having Odin's forces on your side would be a huge help. And I think it would be so cool to see this Odin.
And I mean, even if Odin's not the one leading them, still the samurai will be forever indebted to the Straw Hats after this, no matter what happens.
But I think regardless of whether he's alive or not, I think it'll be written wonderfully, and I think it'll be a preferred outcome in my opinion. Now, what I think happened, as much as I would like Odin to be alive, just as a person, I think he is currently being mimicked. Now, as to whether it's good or bad, I don't know. Knowing how assholey the leaders of Kaido's group are, it would not surprise me if, and maybe the traitor is still alive and drew Odin.
I was gonna say I have seen some speculation that it could be Conjuro.
I would not surprise me because they love kicking you when you're down.
That'd be so sick.
And it would not surprise me if someone, when they're at their worst.
The only reason I can't get behind this force being truly malignant is just why would you bother healing them?
Exactly.
Well, they might not even be
okay, so
connected.
I think I'll help with that because my theory kind of takes that question into account. But finish what you were saying.
Well, on that, they might not even be connected. That's the thing. We don't know who the shadow character is yet. No. Like, I mean, everything you guys said makes sense. Like, if that happens, I'm totally happy with that.
No, absolutely.
Like, but right now, it just seems even this level of convenience, even for Oda, is really convenient. Like the Chopper thing with the medicine, I'm okay with that because
I think we all
that's Chopper being with it. But like Oda just showing up in the middle of this, like we'll see. Like there's a lot of things that could have led to this, but it would have to be a lot of things.
And there's a lot of things that can come from this too.
Oh, exactly. So my top idea is that it's not really Odin. I doubt that it's Odin more than I think it's Odin. But I'll be happy regardless.
Yeah.
Because I know they're going to get through it.
So I'm going to go to an even darker place because I think this could be an extremely foreboding and foreshadowing thing. So it's a theory for me. And I think there's a few parallels here between this and Marineford with, the actor you didn't see coming, or you might have seen coming, but not like all the shit they're going to do. We know of 3 users of the mimicry type devil fruits or abilities. We have the one you mentioned, Burke. We have Mr. 2, who is supposedly alive and impelled down. No reason for him to be Wano. And very recently, we got introduced to the abilities of Katrine Devon on Blackbeard's crew with the Nine-Tailed Fox. She can turn into absolute perfect mimic of him. Now, I don't know the range of her abilities, but if it's a mythical zone, you can assume they're vast. I think in some shape or form.
Oh, and the Nine-Tailed Fox in Japanese lore is like god level.
Right. Katrine Devon is maybe scouting it out. Maybe it has taken the form of Odin, has appeared in the showroom, and there's not a lot of ways that I understand that she gets to this point, but this is just what I feel is
it would
prevalent.
It had to be explained in the story.
Is that so she's taken the form of Odin, she's seeing all of the samurai, and suddenly as Odin she has a force that will do anything for her, right? If she's Odin and Odin says, hey guys, we need to go target A, B, C, doesn't matter. She can command an extremely powerful, the most powerful samurai, you could argue, in Wano towards something that maybe she or Blackbeard wants, right? So you immediately have a leader of a very powerful organization to do whatever the bidding that Blackbeard wants.
But the problem is they're already doing that. Like, they're already fighting Kaido. They're already...
But that's the thing. I don't know what Blackbeard wants, but this is a way to add to his force so he doesn't even have to sacrifice his own forces, right? So I think, personally, the theory here with me is Katrine Devon takes on Odin's form, but before she showed up in that form, and I think this is where Toki is alive, in my opinion, is Toki was in the room, she healed them, she hears someone coming, she doesn't know if it's friend or foe, she hides, which is why you don't see her in the room after, because I think the shadow Odin in the doorway and the shadow that was helping them are separate. That individual was hidden away, ran away, I don't know why. I don't think they're on the same side. Whatever those two forces are, you have 3 forces in the room. Speculatively, you have Odin, who just appeared, you have the samurai who were hurt but now healed, and then you have the healer. And so I'm really interested. Now, I think it could either be Toki, or I think it could be her daughter. Is it Hiyori?
Hiyori.
Yeah, Hiyori. So I think Hiyori, we haven't seen her in a while. There's no reason she couldn't come here and try to help, right? Against the better judgment of others that are telling her not to. Healed up the samurai, heard this force coming, Odin's appeared. But I feel like there's a very distinct reason why Odin and whoever healed them is separate. That person's no longer in the room. They healed them and ran, right? So I think my biggest theory there is this is a foreboding measure of the Blackbeard pirates appearing for whatever reason. I don't know if it's Kaido's fruit, Marco's fruit, if they're there to cause havoc, to see Emperor's Undone. I don't know. That's the thing with Blackbeard. He's such an enigma. But him moving and this being a move, and the last time we saw him, let's be clear, Blackbeard said, if they're just going to leave that thing there, I might as well go and take it for myself, right? Mm-hmm. And he was moving. I have no clue where else that would be. Story-wise, it could be the next time, it could be Wano. But I'm thinking in this moment, we're seeing a subordinate of Blackbeard influencing a group of samurai, and that can then join whatever his goal is. It's so hard to know. But that's the theory I like. That's what I think thus far.
I think that definitely holds water. I think that's a very valid theory.
I also like how we have all different ones because I think that gives viewers, options.
Yeah, but however,
I do think Toki's alive though.
I just don't know how. So with your theory, the only thing that I don't think holds water is how she would be able to transform into looking like Odin if she's never met him.
Well, here's the thing.
And again, I don't know either. But we haven't seen the limits. Of her power.
The thing about Nine-Tailed Fox mythology, master of illusion, master of trickery. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be out of ordinary for something god level to be able to reach for something they haven't seen before.
Yeah, it is
or maybe reach into someone's memories.
Right.
I'm not certain. Like I said, this is just, especially if it's the Nine-Tailed Fox I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and we only saw a brief.
Yeah, we don't know anything.
Yeah, but then also, like, how does she get there so fast? If it's so much harder, if like Big Mom's ship, her giant ship with her whole army is having such difficulty getting to Wano, how is Blackbeard just able
to to be clear, we don't need all the pirates to be there.
Well, how did Lafitte get to that meeting with the warlords?
Right.
We don't know how they transported.
I mean, that wasn't Wano, though.
But how did he get to...
How did he get there?
But what I'm telling you is Wano has been described as the most difficult area to get to, and, like, multiple ships can't even get up there.
With one small ship
if can get there, I think
with Big Mom, the issue was King.
And then Marco, and then maybe they're getting up there now.
That's right, I forgot Marco also knocks them down.
Rule of three, so something else has to knock them. I don't know. But
the point is, we don't know enough about Blackbeard's crew.
Other than they're perfect for infiltration, as Lafitte has shown, as we've seen with Impel Down, as we've seen with Marineford, I don't think there's any place besides Laugh Tale.
I don't think it's weird for them to be able to make it there. For
or
sure.
At least
especially
one of them.
If he's considered an emperor level pirate, he'll be able to make it to Wano.
And again, I'm not saying it's right, but that's what I think when I see this. That was the first thought I had.
I don't necessarily agree with it, but the possibility I think is not out of the question.
And
my only thing is I don't know if the Blackbeard. There's been no hint, and this might be figured out revealed later, but there's no hint that Blackbeard is invested enough in this Wano story to pay attention to it and know all the happenings of what's going on. I don't know how much he's invested or how much he even knows about the Nine Scabbards.
No, true.
Because right now there's absolutely no connection between Wano's story and Blackbeard. I mean, the first time, the only thing we saw, and maybe this will be shown in the fact that Odin was there when Blackbeard got recruited, or he asked himself. Begged himself onto the Whitebeard's ship.
Sure.
And maybe that's where that connection happens. But as far as we know...
Because Blackbeard was there when they fought with Odin, right?
You mean with...
There was a young Blackbeard.
No, not with Roger, yes. With Roger.
Yes.
But
when they had a big fight, Shanks and Buggy were making fun of this kid Blackbeard who never sleeps, right? Mm-hmm. So he's been there for
but it's just also like Wano. The whole point of Wano is that information is really hard to get out of Wano or into Wano.
Yeah.
So again, how would Blackbeard know about it? It's not like he has.
Well, I mean, he's building a fleet.
I understand he's building a fleet, but again, how is he building the fleet and also trying to spy on all these places?
Well, Blackbeard's interesting because, his thing is he knows shit he shouldn't, right?
Well, and also he appears in places you don't expect him to.
Yeah.
How the hell did he appear in the middle of Marineford?
Yeah.
There's so many places he shouldn't have been, but he was there.
Yeah. So a member of his crew was there, which is why I think it holds a candle, at the very least.
Yeah, so it's not... The thing with it is, I don't think it's weird that a crew of his might be there, because they can be wherever they want. You know, like we don't know what their full extent of their powers are yet. They're end gamers, man. They're definitely an end game crew. So they're not going to reveal everything about them right now, and we don't know. But I don't think it's out of the question for them to be able to get into places that most people can't.
I do wonder about the Fox and like the intentions of it. Would it just be rallying cry go off?
You mean Onimaru?
Yeah.
I just think that it's been a benevolent force this entire time for the sake of the samurai. Yeah. So what better way to rally the troops even more than if obviously, like I said, if it's not Odin in flesh, what a better way to rally the troops than to be helping fight as the person who gave these people.
Would you think Onimaru also healed them, or is that a separate entity for you?
That's the hard thing for me, because that silhouette is just so different from what we saw.
And Odin just appeared in the doorway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Not that he's a medical specialist either. Right.
And my secondary theory is that it is the leader of Orochi's ninja. Whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah. The really tall head guy.
Eno's grandfather.
Basically, look at his earlobes.
With his long earlobes. Because it looks like in the silhouette that those were earlobes rather than hair. But also, it could have been hair, and that's the one reason that maybe it was Toki.
Hashtag Foxy Silver Fox for the win.
Gosh, get out of here. But I think we can all agree, as memey as it would be, it's not a Nell. He's not back.
Most likely not.
I think
most likely. I think holding out. Maybe.
I think he's quite happy on Fairyverse.
With Oda, there's always the possibility of something crazy happening.
It'd probably be like a movie, though.
I'm not holding out for Enel to show up.
I would if I really thought.
But if he were to show up, I wouldn't be disappointed.
Honestly, I'd be more surprised by him showing up than Oda.
Imagine if Odin wasn't a doorway, it was just Enel going, you guys look beat up.
I'm on the good side now.
I restarted all your hearts. Unlimited power!
Unlimited power!
But, what a great chapter. And Oda, as always, did it to us again, giving us a break before the next one, so we could just suffer with seeing Odin again and not knowing what is actually going on there. Oh, man. And then, I feel like the samurai are either going to be very happy and it's all going to work out because it is Odin, or they're going to be extremely disappointed, but maybe it'll be kind of a good thing, and they'll come around to it, or they'll just be devastated and tricked. I think this is a big deal for them.
I think the most One Piece-y thing that would happen here, in my opinion, in my correct opinion. To be fair. I do think it's someone pretending to be Odin. I don't think they're good, but I think they're going to underestimate how well they know their lord. And they're going to slip up, and they're going to get trashed.
I mean, is there anyone else on Orochi's side that could do anything like this?
Not that we know of.
We going to find out. I mean, Orochi's dead, right? I mean, let's be real. Come on.
Yeah, sure. We're holding out for it. We're really holding out on that one. We know it was like 20 chapters.
I don't remember.
It was a large amount of
He's going to
chapters.
show up at the worst time. He's going to be a spandom. He's just going to beat, like, Robin or something.
Well, I think at least he's on the same power level as Momonosuke. Momonosuke can rightfully defeat Orochi.
I think he's stronger than Momonosuke, at least.
No.
What?
I mean,
I think Orochi's stronger than Momonosuke.
I feel like,
you've never seen Momo fight anything.
No.
So how are you thinking?
I mean, he's a dragon. I don't know.
He's a child.
I know, but
who's too afraid to hold a sword right now?
The whole thing with...
I'm not blaming him.
I mean, he has to overcome some obstacles, but if there was a possible person for him to defeat, who better than Orochi?
I'm pretty sure, I would not be surprised if Orochi has killed multiple people himself by now.
I don't think Oda likes to have the children in his stories fight.
No?
They're there for growth.
Exactly, they're there for growth.
So you don't think he wields his sword seriously before we leave Wano?
No, I think Momo has had emotional growth. He doesn't need to have physical fighting growth to show anything.
He's like, say, Konohamaru in Naruto. Konohamaru didn't really do much in the way of fighting in the original series.
Oh, come on. When Pain entered the village...
I'm talking about original series, when he was still a kid.
Oh, well.
When he couldn't really
defend himself very well.
He was there for Naruto to guide the way.
Obviously, yes, he grew up and he fought Pain, like one of the Pains.
Like, I think it's similar to that, where Luffy's guiding the way, and he's going to grow up and become a great leader. That's what I think is going to happen with Momonosuke.
Momonosuke, no fight, you think?
I think he'll help. I think he'll support, like Tama. I think he's going to support like Tama. But he's not going to straight up fight.
He has to have a moment where he gets over his not
definitely.
full
I know.
scariness.
I just don't think he's gonna have a fight.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense for Oda to all of a sudden have a kid have a fight.
Maybe
I don't think he's that kind of.
Unless you're Sugar.
Yeah, unless you're. She didn't really fight. She just kind of.
Sugar wasn't even like.
She didn't even fight. She
Sugar
just
was
protected.
overpowered, and she can.
She was just protected.
Yeah. And Sugar, she wasn't a kid.
She never slept.
She was an adult.
Immortal.
Yeah, she was an immortal
child's
body of a kid.
What's that horror movie with the little girl who's like supposed to be 7 and an orphan, but she's really 24 and.
I'm not sure.
I've got no idea.
It's creepy.
Bride of Chucky? I don't know.
No, like she's a literal orphan that gets adopted, but she's actually 24 and has this like degenerative disease.
I think I know
she
what
tries
you're
to sleep
talking
with the
about.
father, and it's all
I know
messed
what you're
up.
talking about.
Anyway, that has nothing
Sounds
to do
like
with
my
this.
type of movie.
But yeah, great chapter as always. Very surprising. Wait a week for the next one. Do you think we'll get a reveal next week, or do you think they're gonna extend it?
I mean, it's 2 weeks. Remember, it's not.
No, yeah. Do you think we'll get
Next chapter?
Chapter?
We're not going to get anything.
We're
for
probably
2 weeks.
going to. They're probably going to go to a different part of the fight.
I'm fine with going back to the
I
roof.
don't think we're gonna get our answers.
I don't think we're going to get the answers until probably end of April.
Mm.
Because even if we get back to where Oda's like being like talked about with the 9 scabbards, we're not going to realize whether it's real or not probably until multiple chapters in.
I think if it's a gag, it gets revealed next chapter.
My guess-
If it's not, there's a longer wait.
My guess is we're going to see a little bit of the 9 scabbards. Just so it's like, what?
Like
and
reacting?
then maybe some kind of like foreshadowing of what might happen with like maybe a smile from Odin or something. And then it's going to cut from that. We'll probably go back to...
Don't do it,
We'll
Oda.
probably go back to either Sanji,
Making his decision.
Nami and Usopp, or both.
If we see Oda's
Because we've
wife,
seen less of them.
I want
if
to
we see Oda's wife, I think my
Jinbei
theory
as
is
well.
confirmed. I think if we see Oda's
We
wife,
see Toki.
if we see Toki, I think the time travel and it's actually really Odin is confirmed. If we don't see Toki, I think it's going to be an imposter.
Yeah.
So that's a way to.
Toki's the thing for you to.
Exactly.
Really,
Toki's the crutch.
Yeah.
If Toki's not there, there's no way it's Odin. If Toki is there, it's almost confirmed that it is Odin because there's no reason for her to be there, and Odin to be there at the same time without it being real for both.
yeah, because you can't. You can have one mimic, but 2.
Yeah, exactly. That's too much.
Also, there's also Izu as well. Oh, Izu was at the rooftop. Sorry, I keep forgetting that he's technically a scabbard, not necessarily just Whitebeard's.
He's still on the roof.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Nope.
Did he fall?
They're
All the scabbards got
All the scabbards are in the
out.
storehouse.
So the skippers are in. So
Yeah, the
Izu's
scabbards
in
are all together.
So Izu's in the storehouse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Izu's in the storehouse.
All 9 scabbards are in the storehouse right now.
No, yeah, they got.
They got destroyed.
GTI.
9 isn't Conjuro part of the 9?
No, he's not.
There was 10 scabbard.
He's technically not considered one, I think.
List
You got
the
Izu.
scabbards.
Nope, you're right. He was a part of the 9 scabbards. He's the 8th. So there's 8 scabbards right now.
Okay.
But the
Because the
Izu
ninth-
show. Oh no, Izu's part of the 9.
The 9th was the painter who was confirmed to be a traitor.
Right, that whole thing.
Yep, so
Which
there's
not
technically
confirmed dead
8
either.
scabbards.
They just left him in the snow.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of loose ends that are going to come back to bite people.
I wonder if his body's still hanging out on the edge of the island, or he got left behind.
Well, my thing's like, if you had whoever brought up the painter,
The Conjuro thing's actually really good.
if Conjuro could have been the one to heal them, and that's why they were like, oh, there's no way it was him. Like if he turned coat and he was now going to help the
like
scabbards.
turncoat.
Yeah, so Orochi died.
Double.
So remember, his whole thing was he made a deal with Orochi.
Yeah.
And he was working for Orochi the whole time. If Orochi died, and then he was like,
And
oh,
he
well.
saw him die.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, well, my deal with
died.
Orochi's gone, so
Well,
now I'm
also-
going to be a
We
real
don't
scabbard.
think he died, just
Al-
so we're clear.
Also, he's got a very strange mindset from what we could tell. So it would not be weird for him to be very much an anti-hero.
Yeah, to all of a sudden be like, oh, I'm going to heal them.
very
I might
much-
like Conjuro again, honestly, if he did that.
he can work as a self-interest kind of guy too.
Yeah, so
He's
he-
like, now I just want to survive.
So I think it's
But he
either
died for some
Toki healed the scabbards, or it was the painter, and then the painter made an Oda to be like
Odin.
It made an Odin to be to try to.
I really want Oda to
cheer
appear
him
in his
up.
own anime now.
Oh, right. I know.
But that's the thing. Conjuro could be a good or evil force there. But
It's
I
just
like
hard
the
to
idea
tell.
of him being a turncoat too. I think that would also work really well.
There's just so many ways this could go.
yeah.
I know, it's so exciting.
It really is.
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys that no matter how it turns out, I'm gonna be along for the ride because
Yeah.
it's just.
I think the only situation, because I think Odin's death was complete. I think that would be too hard on the trope of no one dies in One Piece, because Odin's was so.
Well, and also
final.
he usually keeps people from the past dead. I think the only reason it would work this time is because time travel's involved.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I think it'd be acceptable.
It's just time travel really messes things up. It was a bold move for Odin to.
Well, luckily since
it's
it's relegated to one person, it's not like they have a time travel machine. She can't just like.
I mean,
it looks
well,
like
she can.
We really don't know the extent of her abilities.
I doubt she can like move an entire city through time.
I wouldn't be surprised if she could only send so many, and then she has to
or
wait
only
a
a
period.
certain amount of area around.
So she
her.
sent the scabbards, and then she.
I mean,
herself
hell,
couldn't
the
go.
most likely in my opinion.
That's where my theory is. Like,
No,
it's like
you're
that's
right.
why she had to wait. That's why.
In my opinion, I think you probably have to be touching her to go with her.
Well,
she wasn't touching.
She
the
sent the
scabbards.
scabbards by themselves.
Okay, well, then a certain distance, I think.
Right.
I don't think it's gonna be like.
But I mean, her story in my mind is also pretty complete with the burning of it, the prophecy, death, right?
Who knows?
She dies in the same.
I just think
couple
Momo's
days.
gonna have a happy ending with his parents.
He deserves it.
I think he's gonna have a happy ending with at least his mother.
He might have a happy ending.
I would love for at least his mother to be there because.
Yeah.
I love Odin.
I think we all like Toki.
But his death was complete.
He can have a happy ending with Zoro as his brother-in-law.
There you go.
I don't dislike that.
I like that.
All right.
And then we got Sanji just like, you know her!
All right, perfect. Well, is there anything else we want to talk about? 1007? Anything else?
No,
I think that covers it all.
This whole almost hour really made me sweaty.
I'll open a window. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Next time. All right, viewers, that concludes our very first episode of the Yonko Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the Boise Bros Official. Follow us on all our social media and check back soon for more One Piece content. We're off, boys. Till next time.